Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into a topic that hits home for a lot of us: food addiction and emotional eating. You might have heard these terms tossed around, but do you know how different they really are? In this chat, we'll break down the differences, share some relatable examples, and give you some tools to better understand your own relationship with food. So, grab your favorite snack, get cozy, and let's jump right in. First off, let's talk about food addiction. So, what is it? Food addiction is when you feel compelled to eat certain foods even when you're not hungry, and this can lead to a cycle that's tough to break. Think of it like being addicted to a substance. It might be a specific junk food, or maybe it's that sugar rush that keeps calling your name. Some common characteristics of food addiction include having a loss of control when it comes to certain foods. There's that moment where you start munching away, and suddenly you finish the whole bag of chips without even realizing it. You might find yourself craving those specific foods frequently, and over time, you can develop a kind of tolerance, meaning you need even more of that food to get the same satisfaction. For some, not having that food may lead to withdrawal-like symptoms such as irritability or restlessness. Let's talk about a real-life scenario. Imagine it's a long day at work and you grab a donut from the break room. At first, it's just one, but soon you're back for seconds and thirds. You know it's not the best choice for you, but the craving is just too strong. That's a classic example of food addiction. Now, switching gears, let's discuss emotional eating. What does that mean? Essentially, emotional eating is when we reach for food not because we're physically hungry, but to cope with our feelings. Whether it's stress, anxiety, boredom, or even celebration, many of us turn to food for comfort or distraction. The signs of emotional eating are pretty relatable. Think about the last time you had a bad day at work or a fight with a friend. Did you find yourself reaching for that tub of ice cream? It's that urge to use food as a source of comfort. You might not even be aware you're doing it. Instead of addressing those tough emotions, food becomes a way to temporarily escape from them. A common situation is after a breakup. It's late and you're feeling all sorts of emotions. You might decide to binge watch your favorite show while demolishing a pizza. Sure, it feels good at that moment, but afterwards you may feel a mix of guilt or sadness. That's emotional eating at work. So, what's the main difference between food addiction and emotional eating? Well, let's break it down. Food addiction mostly revolves around the pleasure of eating and the compulsion to eat specific foods, while emotional eating is all about using food as a means to cope with feelings. It's that fine line between enjoying food and feeling like you can't control your eating habits. Physically speaking, food addiction can get a little intense, almost like an addiction to drugs or alcohol. You're chasing a high when you eat that favorite food, while emotional eating is more about soothing an emotional pain. The consequences? They vary too. Food addiction often leads to health issues like obesity or diabetes, while emotional eating can impact mental health, causing feelings of guilt or low self-esteem after we've indulged. Let's not forget the emotional triggers behind these behaviors. For food addiction, triggers might be related to cravings or environmental cues, like seeing a food ad or walking past a bakery. On the other hand, emotional eating usually stems from specific emotions such as loneliness, sadness, or stress. Sometimes, these triggers can overlap, leading to a complex relationship with food. That beautiful cupcake in the bakery might tempt you because it's your favorite, and simultaneously, it can remind you of a happy time that you want to relive. Now, how do we identify our own patterns? A great starting point is self-reflection. You can keep a food journal where you jot down not only what you eat, but also how you feel during those moments. Are you munching on chips while watching a sad movie? Time to dig a bit deeper. Pay attention to those emotional triggers. What leads you to reach for food? Is it happiness, boredom, stress? By being honest with ourselves, we can start recognizing these patterns. There are plenty of resources available too. You might find apps or worksheets that guide you through understanding your eating habits better. Now, if you find yourself relating to these feelings, it's essential to know when to seek support. If you think you're facing food addiction, consider reaching out to a therapist specializing in this area. For emotional eating, talking to someone about your feelings can be incredibly helpful. Support groups, apps, and helplines are all excellent resources to explore. Don't hesitate to reach out. Everyone goes through tough times, and asking for help is a strong move. To wrap things up, we've learned some key differences between food addiction and emotional eating today. Remember, it's perfectly normal to have complex relationships with food, but being aware is the first step towards making healthier choices. If any of this resonated with you, don't hesitate to share your experiences in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. Thanks for hanging out with me today, and remember, you're not alone in this journey. Catch you in the next video. Bye.